all right. So tell me a little bit about yourself, your current position, and any other information that you'd like everyone to know about.
Sure. So my name is Sheri Atkinson. I am at the University of California, Davis. I am an Associate Vice Chancellor for Student Life, Campus Community, and Retention Services, a part of our Division of Student Affairs. And I've been here for 17 years now. And I was in a couple different roles before moving up to this role, but I started at UC Davis as a director of the LGBT Resource Center here after I left St. Cloud State, and then moved to an executive director role, and then to my current associate vice chancellor role.
Oh, wow. Okay. So 17 years, that is a very long time to be in
Yeah.
that position at UC Davis.
Yeah.
Um, so what was the role of your formation, with the LGBT Resource Services or the GLBT Services, the original name,
Yeah.
for the Resource Center?
Yeah, definitely. So I came to St. Cloud State in 1999. And prior to my coming there, there were graduate student assistants who had been running the center for a while. It was called the Pink Triangle Resource Center, I think, at the time. And then I was the first full-time staff person that was hired at St. Cloud State University. So one of the first things that I did, there were, it was an opportunity to kind of really start building on the foundation that had been provided by the graduate students that came before me, and did a lot of really important work in establishing kind of a space and a community on campus, and programs and events and things like that. So we really got to build from there. So one of the first two things that I did when I came was we were in the basement of the Women's Center, which was actually in a different building that it is now. It was kind of on the other side of campus, and we were in the basement there, and it was kind of a cool space, but I was concerned about accessibility. It was down some stairs, and it was an older building, and so wanted to kind of have it be more of its own space. So we moved over to the Atwood Union. Is that what it's called? Atwood? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been gone for so long.
I know.
And it was literally, we moved into a closet, literally. It was an old space was a space that it had been kind of used for storage. And so I consulted with a number of folks, current students and faculty and others about like, hey, I'm thinking that it would be good to be in a central location, kind of create our own identity. It's a really small space. And, the irony of having a LGBT center in a closet, but we thought that it would be good to be there, and it would help students be able to find us and find the services. And then after we were in that space for a while, we were able to move to a space on the kind of I don't know if that's where you are still now. No, I know you're that's right. You're on the first floor, kind of, right? Yes. Mm-hmm. We were over by that Atwood Theater. So
okay. Yeah.
So that was a bigger space. But so we moved from the basement of the Women's Center to a closet in Atwood. And then I also consulted on the name of the space of the center because I wanted to, I thought it was important to name our space with the identities we were serving in terms of students knowing kind of what we were and who we were serving and who we were there for. And students maybe sometimes don't know the history of the Pink Triangle before they come to a campus. And so I decided to, in consultation again with faculty and students and staff, change it to GLBT Services at that time. So Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, Transgender Services. And then of course, after I left, it was changed to LGBT Resource Center, which is to be in line with a lot of other centers across the country.
Cool. Okay. All right. Well, I guess the next question you talked about a little bit, but you can also go into it a little bit further as well. So of course, did you have any involvement with the Pink Triangle? And if so, can you explain, what all you can remember, like any details, and like what were some of the things that you spoke with like any staff or any students about regarding that involvement with the Pink Triangle?
Yeah, so that was what it was before I arrived. So I didn't necessarily, wasn't necessarily involved in it prior to that. But again, the grad students who had worked there prior were engaged in that work, and they had recently graduated, I believe, right around the time that I came, but they were still around. So I had the pleasure to be able to engage with and learn from kind of what their experiences had been and what, kind of things that they had been working on and whatnot. So, so my involvement with the space prior to the name change was minimal.
Okay. Okay. And then what were there any opposition of not having the actual resource center there on campus? Was it mostly a lot of positive support, some negative support? What was that environment like?
Yeah, I felt like there was a lot of positive support. We, especially amongst the students were so ready to have and build on the work of the center and the space and the visibility. And so a lot of students just really came forward and were engaged, and it was very positive. And then of course, the staff and faculty were also very supportive at the time. So Jane Olson, who you may know, was I think she's still there, right? She hasn't
Yes.
retired yet. Okay, I know
Oh,
Lee retired.
yeah.
So Jane was my supervisor for my first year there,
Oh,
and
wow.
she was. So I reported to the Women's Center director, and then it changed, and we reported right to vice president. But she was amazingly supportive. When I got there, she said, Sheri, your vision is my vision. And so, whatever I wanted to do. And she was very supportive and helped remove barriers or help me navigate kind of the new environment since I was new to St. Cloud State as well. So she was very supportive. And I felt like the campus and the community, both the students and others, were ready to see that next step for the space and for us to kind of just really have more of a presence on campus.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And of course, I like to add, Jane Olson, if you are watching this video, you are amazing, wonderful
Yes.
person, by the way.
Yes. Yes, I agree, 100%, 100%.
So what were some memorable events that you participated within the Resource Center?
Oh man, there were so many. I mean, I was there for only 4 years, but the memories of my time at St. Cloud State are just really prominent for me in terms of just work and the personal connections I made with folks. And I think a couple things come to mind. My first year, we hosted the Midwest Conference. It was called, oh gosh, it had a long name. It's probably still. Do you know what it is?
Oh yeah, yeah, I think it's Mumble Tech.
Yes,
One of
yes.
the acronyms I hear around. So
Yes, yes, exactly. So when I got there, so Tracy Orr, who is still there, I believe, as well, faculty, and was really engaged with the community, very just a great support for students. And she had been working with the students as well. And I got to campus, I got the job, and at the campus, they're like, oh, by the way, we're going to host this regional large scale conference your first year here. And I'm like, great, let's do it. So that was a huge memory. Definitely that was fun and a lot of work. And actually was kind of a cool thing to have happen my first year there, because it really brought students together and out to help engage in a specific project to move forward. So that was definitely one of great memories. I would say another great memory of my time at St. Cloud was the drag shows. We used to do drag shows. I don't know if that's something that still happens or not, but we did I don't think we did it once, one show a semester maybe at the time, so 2 a year, and it was folks would come out and it would be kind of an exciting time, and students got to express themselves and engage in performance and that sort of thing. So those were just really fun and really memorable, and just really cool thing to work with students in the community on. And then the other thing I would say, one of my favorite memories is we started a group called Jugglers Against Oppression. So it was, so I think it was actually at the Midwest Conference that we had a group there called Jugglers Against Homophobia who had performed, and they called me up on stage to juggle with them because I had mentioned that I could juggle, and the students at the time were like, "You can juggle? Sheri, you can juggle?" And I was like, just a little bit, right? Like nothing major. I just like juggle some balls. And then students were like, well, I want to learn to juggle. And so I started teaching students to juggle. And then we decided to form our own group that was called Jugglers Against Oppression, to have it be more broad. And we talked about, we would use juggling as a metaphor for the intersections of identities and intersections of oppressions, and to use it as educational tools. So we performed on campus a lot for a couple years there. We did the Respect and Responsibility program with Lee Ledoux. We did that as part of a training for all incoming students. And then we performed wherever we were asked, and we got asked to do go to all kinds of places, including the Minnesota State Fair, and we just did a number of different performances. And I think the juggling is a little disarming in terms of making it light, but then we also infuse personal stories and education around social justice. So that was
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing that you did mention the drag shows and Jugglers Against Oppression, because of course I've done some research and some looking. And we did find some old pictures of advertisements of Jugglers Against Oppression, and even some pictures of you doing drag performances at St. Cloud State as well.
Cool.
And I thought that was like really amazing, and all the things that everyone did within those last couple of years. So I thought that was very cool and very amazing. So
yeah, it was great. It was good times.
Yeah, sorry to put you on the spot with those, the pictures that I found.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I loved it.
So how would you look at the climate during the start, or how would you look at the start of the LGBT Resource Center? The climate, now, and or actually, no, let me rephrase it. How would you look at the climate during the start of the LGBT Resource Center from the past to now in 2020?
Well, it's hard to say because I've been gone so long, right? I've been gone for 17 years, and I was there for 4 years. I felt generally, supported by the campus community and others. And, there were a number of different things that we did also, or that students wanted to do that were, that had varying reactions. I don't know if you've come across any old files or pictures from an event we did, live homosexual acts on, yes. And so that was the idea behind that. We kind of advertised it. It was something that I brought with me from another institution that I was at before, St. Cloud State, that you kind of advertise it. It's a little provocative in terms of like people think, oh, what is this? And the students from the student organization, which was called Out Loud at the time, it was more of an activist group. They wanted to do, I had told them about this thing we did and they're like, we want to do that. And so and then the idea is that, it's called live homosexual acts, and then people have thoughts about what that means. And then we just, were present, and we just did things like, hung out on the patio, or, eat lunch or play games or things like that, and so it was like to make the point that like we do, the community is more than, just sexual acts, even though, that's part of who we are as well, but it's not the only part. And so there were just different reactions to that, both within the community and outside the community. So that was one area, but I wouldn't say that wasn't something that was in terms of like a negative climate by any means. I think that one of the things that I've generally seen in the time that I did LGBT work from then to now is the level of awareness that college students bring into college, like for LGBTQI students who come in with an awareness of their own identities or have had opportunities to express or learn about other identities beyond being straight. And then also non-LGBTQI students who who have like been exposed, like they have some base knowledge around this community. They've been exposed to others that had, you know, maybe were out in high school, maybe some of their friends were part of the community, or, you know, they had, it wasn't such a taboo topic as it was at times, I think. And just seeing that change over time, and what education and a knowledge that students brought in, and how that was changing like each year, as I was doing this work, both at St. Cloud State and at UC Davis, was, you know, it was inspiring to be like, okay, we are making progress, and you can see it over, it feels like in the moment sometimes that there's no progress happening because it's so slow, but then as I have gotten a broader view, I'm like, okay, we are moving the needle, and there's certainly more work to do in lots of different ways around not just you know, LGBTQI identities, but, you know, social justice as a whole, and the intersections of identity, and a lot of work around in our society around anti-Blackness and social justice, and, you know, all those kinds of things as well. So, so it's, you know, I can see changes in some ways, in other areas in society generally that, you know, we have a ways to go. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And then what will be your hopes for the LGBT Resource Center in the coming years? What would you like to envision? Like, even though you've been out of that role for over 17 years, what would you like to see within the Resource Center, you know, for the next couple of years? Like, let's just say, like, if you, you know, for some reason, like if destiny, you know, falls on you, like if you ever had to come back to St. Cloud State, what would you like the Resource Center, to be moving forward?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I definitely would want it to continue to be a thriving space, and that students were engaged in, and that students were helping form and shape that vision as it moved forward, because, you know, that's a lot of what the primary focus often of the center. Even we work with, you know, staff and faculty as well, but there's, you know, it's a particular, I think, special place for students to engage in and get connected with community and learn about themselves and grow, and then also do education for the broader community. So continuing to do those things in ways that meets the needs of the current generations, you know, that's all I could ask for, and to continue to build on the foundation that's been continuing to grow since I've been there as well.
Okay. Do you have like any additional thoughts or fun facts that you want everyone to know? And then also, I'll go ahead and ask this question as well, and just, you know, bundle that into one. So the first one is, do you have any additional thoughts or fun facts you want everyone to know? And then the other question is, what was your favorite moment that resonated with you during your time here?
Oh, okay. Let's kind of think. I know I kind of like gave away all my special moments and my
I
fun
know.
facts at the beginning, so I
There
should have
could be
saved some.
something else.
I know. I should have saved some. Save some up. You know, really, it was like the relationships and the connections that I made with the folks while I was there, including the students, some of which I still keep in touch with. You know, it was, like I said, a short period of time in my life, but it was one that it was my first job after getting my master's degree. And so I was so excited and so ready. And it was like a perfect environment that was supportive to do this work and to grow for myself personally and professionally, and just make some really strong connections with folks that I think we did a lot in 4 years. And so I think, you know, it's just really cool to be a part of that, and was just really inspiring, and something that I hold with me and take with me to this day.
Okay. Are there any like final thoughts that you want to tell everyone, or just, you know, like just anything that you have on your mind since the Resource Center is celebrating its 20th anniversary?
Yeah, I mean, congratulations. I'm so thrilled to see where you all are at, and how things have continued on, and the work that's been going on since then. That just makes me really happy that, you know, I got to be a part of the legacy of the center and its success at St. Cloud State University. So I've enjoyed talking about it and reminiscing a little bit with you today. Yes, and if I can ever be a resource for you or the community at St. Cloud State, don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Thank you so much for that, and thank you once again, Dr. Sheri Atkinson, for sharing your time with us, and just and just going on about, you know, some of the experiences, you know, that you had working here at the LGBT Resource Center, and just, you know, just thank you again, you know, for taking the time out of your day for doing this. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
No problem.